This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Hey, it's our favourite time of the week. It is Party Loaded time once again. Wednesday night, the 10th of August. My name's Luke Retallick. Really looking forward to chatting about video games with three of my pals, as per usual. So, introducing tonight, first hot off the bat, we have Jam Donatosaurus. How you doing?
Hey, buddies!
How you feeling tonight? What's cracking in Jamland?
Long day, bit headachy, but now slightly delirious.
All right, that's the best place to start an episode of this show from. I approve. All right, moving on to No Man's Imogen. How you doing?
Oh, hi. I like that. No Man's Imogen. I'm going to rock that.
Do you like that because of the No Man's Sky reference, or because if there's a plural involved there, it makes you sound less of a whore? Is that okay?
Oh, what? Wow.
Okay, can we banish him?
Sorry, that was terrible.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to take over. And
Anymore,
finally,
guys.
we're introducing Ollie. We're down to 3 now.
Yeah,
Luke.
Party Load is really unfortunately here to announce Luke's retirement from the podcast for personal reasons, also known as inability to filter his brain.
Anywho. Yeah, so come on, we're all in a good mood
We
now,
hardly
aren't we?
knew him, and thank God for that.
All right, I apologise. How you doing anyway?
Wrong?
How you doing?
That was awful.
I know. The
You're
whole
bad, you
the
should
inflection
feel
there was
bad.
No Man's
I would like
Imogen.
to pre-disagree with all of Luke's opinions for the rest of the podcast today, okay? Ahead of time, I just
On
disagree.
principle.
No.
Yeah, on principle.
Imogen, of course, is clean and
shit.
wholesome, and we love her for it. So, Ollie, how you doing?
No, she has to disagree with that.
Damn it, foiled at every corner.
I'm doing all right.
Nice. All right. So, from that fantastic foundation of a chart-topping episode, we can only go up from there. So, oh god,
Seriously, your brain.
Unbelievable.
What the fuck?
Absolutely unbelievable.
Save me, Ollie. What have you been playing, man? What's got on the gaming front this week? You've got some
I
cool stuff to talk
played a
about.
variety of cool things. So I finally got around to playing Inside, which you guys raved about, and now I understand why. Fucking dogs, man. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, those, I'm a dog person. Those dogs are fucking terrifying. Like, oh my god. They've timed some of those puzzles so well. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Very good game. Would recommend. Can't say much because it
I
doesn't
haven't
really.
played
There's no real spoilers to it, I guess, because the story does sort of just self-tell.
Yeah.
Like, there's no direct things. Well, at least until where I'm up to. But yeah,
But how
it
far
is
in
definitely a
are you?
game. I just got the submersible.
Okay. You've got heaps to go then. Yeah.
Yeah, keep playing.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just gonna crack the game disc and throw it in the bin.
You have it
done.
on disc?
No, I don't. I have to go to someone else's house to play it because I don't have the console to play it on. But yeah, I've been playing that. I also conveniently at the same place, so I may have had my PS4 day. I played a game called ABZÜ, which is very
amazing.
freaking cool. The best way I can describe it is Journey under the sea.
Okay.
Minus singing crabs.
Minus the what?
Singing crabs under the sea.
Skiing crabs.
Singing crabs.
Oh,
Use your fucking
singing
ears.
I get the reference.
Okay.
Go
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah. I got it.
Under the
I
sea.
got it. Sorry,
Oh my
I
God.
wasn't receiving you. I need to
Here's
spend
a
my
guide rope, Luke. Let us walk you through the joke.
Fuck, first the insult, now oh
Where are my
God, you are
crayons?
the worst.
All right.
Anyway,
Did someone
it's
bring
really
Luke's
cool.
kid pack?
So the music is beautiful, the art style is beautiful. The fucking graphics engine, holy shit. Like, you know how Journey, the sand physics, you don't really notice them, and you're like, wow, that sand's actually blowing like the way it should and moving properly.
Oh, I
And
noticed
that was
them.
its one
I noticed
really
them
cool
before
thing.
the end of the first area. That was pretty nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the thing they've chosen for this one is animating the schools of fish. And holy fuck, when you go through like a big group of fish and they're all animated and all going around you individually, yeah, no, it's gorgeous. Play this game,
I want to
people.
play it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Play it.
It's not done by the same people, is it?
I think it is, potentially. I don't actually
Giant
know.
squid.
Okay.
I
was Giant
think
Squid.
so.
We'll fact check that as the episode continues.
Did Giant Squid do... yes, they did. Oh, no. Wait, hold on. I'm loading up Journey's thing now. It is by... I don't know, because it doesn't fucking say. No, that game company.
Okay.
No, it's not the same people, but it may as well be. It feels like so similar. It's not funny.
Party loaded, bringing you the facts. All right.
Yeah. Spurious facts. The best kind. And then I tried an absolutely fantastic game called Overcooked. This game is brilliant. So it takes a very simple concept of you are a chef and your co-op players are chefs as well, and you have very simple recipes. Well, they start simple for different dishes that you are cooking. So to make like an onion soup, you need to chop up 3 onions and put them in the pot. But you have to get those onions ready, take them out, chop them up, put them in the pot, make sure that the pot's not on there for too long, otherwise it bursts into flames. You have to plate up your dish, make sure the dish gets out on time before the order runs out. And then there might be other different orders that require different ingredients. You have to wash the dishes. For some levels, the map changes, or they might have only a certain... Because there's player collision, there might only be certain routes you can take. So one map we played was a single lane, and so everyone was just going clockwise, just so we had a system going rather than backing and forth into each other. Another map was on 2 moving trucks, so every now and then your kitchen splits in 2.
Oh, man.
You have to cook meat at one point, so not only do you have to mash it up or tenderize it, then you have to cook it. Cook it for too long, it bursts into flames, and the fire can spread throughout your entire kitchen.
Oh.
And then you need the fire extinguisher.
That sounds amazing.
It takes such a simple concept of getting dishes ready with simple components and makes it into such a fun game. And
It's
the
like
art style
cooking
is completely
Mama
adorable.
Diner Dash Gang Beasts.
Sure.
Mash up.
Let's say yes. But yeah, it is a very fun game. So I had a fun weekend of gaming. It was fun.
Can I talk about a game?
No.
Yeah.
Can you
can
not
you?
insult someone?
I obviously need to get my practice of talking. But
You sure
I'm
you
doing
don't
it
want
now.
to, like-
Anyway.
Besmirch my
Holy
name
shit.
before you do that, or...
Did you just have an aneurysm today or something? Is that what's wrong?
So Batman's a cool guy. Anyway, so as we mentioned last week, the Batman Telltale series had just launched, and I did pick that up. Initially with the intent of us all playing it together, but we sort of did a little bit of looking into the crowd play feature that we've been talking about recently for the Batman game and upcoming Telltale titles. And as it turns out, it's not going to be as easy to use as what we originally thought, because it's kind of the Jackbox style mechanic. It really is suited only to local multiplayer, unless of course you want to sort of crowdsource a whole bunch of people that you can't really see or interact with when you're making decisions on during the game with the dialogue trees and things like that.
So it
because
essentially becomes a single player game that you're not playing?
I don't know. I don't know if your decision is weighted more strongly than the rest of the people. So,
But even then, if it's like, I want to go this way because this is what I want, 100 people go, no, we're going the other way. Fuck you. You're like, I guess I'm not in control of my game then. People I can't see.
Yeah. I mean, I can
This
see
is fun.
I can see it good for 2 scenarios, really. One is if you were doing like a live game stream, like on Twitch or something like that, where you have like a chat going and you can interact that way. Or B would be if you're actually physically with the people in the room. So
I can only see it benefiting A, really.
yeah, possibly.
Yep.
It seems like a cool feature that like 99% of the people who play this game won't use. So
For me, it sounds like, please Twitch stream our games, please.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
Well, I would not be surprised if that was the case, because a lot of companies are getting smarter with making their games more palatable for that kind of audience, because it's in their best interest to do so, really, when you think
They
about it.
want that YouTube monies. No, not YouTube monies. Twitch monies.
Well, it's free advertising for their product as well, of course. So
Basically.
yeah, but it's an interesting one with Telltale games, because theoretically, if they were to do that, especially with anything that's got a singularly strong narrative focus, then who's going to go out and buy the game after they've seen the story? So, I mean, I know that recently the developers of That Dragon Cancer were having like a massive dummy spit about the exact same thing, sort of, expressing concern about lost revenue due to the fact that people were just going online and watching the story of the game as opposed to buying it themselves. So I don't know how you can quantify that, lost potential revenue. It's pretty hard to put a number on that, but yeah, I don't know.
This is when ads start appearing in games.
Yeah. With a Telltale one, I could see it maybe being a little different depending on how branching the story gets.
That's right. If they have got enough variation in how you can progress in the decision making, I agree.
Whereas That Dragon Cancer was there's your story.
Yeah. Well, you can interact with a few different things in a very...
Yeah, but overall it's very linear.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I would agree. Yeah, so Batman, I was a little tentative about giving this one a go, and I did kind of want to play it with you guys, but it's just going to be too hard to get together, and time was a bit of the essence with it being a new release and, us wanting to talk about it as promptly as possible. But during the week, there'd been a lot of concerning reports from people and games news outlets that have been playing the new Batman game, experiencing a lot of issues with the resolution and the frame rate. And it seems that they've patched some of those problems out and resolved a lot of it. And, people sort of updating graphics card drivers and things like that have managed to deal with quite a few of them as well. But I got to say, I loaded it up for the first time yesterday and completely updated my graphics cards and made sure that all of the settings were optimized for my particular system. And I still experienced a bunch of those issues. So, most of the game played fine. I've gotten through a few of the chapters now, and I think similar to most of the other Telltale games, they've broken it down into about 6 chapters for the first episode. So I got through maybe the first 2 chapters having at least the issue once in each chapter for a period of maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. And it gets to the point where the sound is still fine, but the video is choppy to the extent of dropping right back down to 10 to sometimes even 5 frames a second. And it's really jittery. So, yeah, not good. I mean, the style of game that it is, it doesn't suffer as much from that as other games would, but it's still a crap experience. So I was pretty concerned about that. Thankfully, it kind of dealt with itself and stopped after a minute or so. And in one case, exiting to the menu and then going back into the game kind of helped it. But it made me a bit nervous because if that happens for longer than that period, I can see it completely ruining the experience of one of the episodes. So, yeah, I hope they do fix that. It did seem that it was a fairly isolated occurrence, and it, obviously I was one of the unlucky few that experienced it. But one of the comments on the game reviews on Steam was something along the lines of even Jesus, our Lord Savior himself, could build the best gaming rig on the planet and still have these problems. So I don't think it's related to your computer not being up to the task. Yeah, exactly. It's just a weird bug thing. But anyway, that aside, game is good. It is very similar to other Telltale titles in the way that the narrative is sort of a string of virtually quick time events, kind of playing things out with interactive elements at periodic intervals. I will say though that I'm playing this one on PC for the first time. Like I usually play the Telltale games on my iPad, and I don't know if it's because I'm playing on PC or whether this is typical of the PC versions of all of those games, but it is a lot faster when you get to the combat scenes. Like I found that, and it might be just a Batman thing, but there's a fight that takes place early on in this episode between yourself and some crooks, and Catwoman gets involved as well, and you get into a bit of a scrap with her. And the moves are lightning fast. Like you need to be on the keyboard and split-second timing, really, button mashing, in some moments just to make sure you hit the right combos. But there are a lot of button combinations too. So unlike the iPad where you kind of just have to swipe in the correct sort of direction, on keyboard, you're literally hitting the WASD keys to sort of swipe in different directions, sometimes combinations of them to execute sort of stun moves and things like that. And then you've got the Q and the E key to interact with different elements during the combats as well. So there's quite a few combinations that alter the way that the fights play out, which is really cool. It actually, I found it better because you're doing more and being less of a passenger, which was cool. So, yeah, story is interesting. It's set during a very early Batman time where he's kind of known in Gotham City, but I don't think he has really made his mark on the scene yet. He's still very much the mysterious figure that is spoken about in hushed whispers, as opposed to, the abundance of supervillains that sort of, permeate Gotham later on, and Batman becomes a permanent sort of staple of the heroic story of the city. One notable one in particular is Oswald Cobblepot actually features in the game, but not as the Penguin early on, and he's super young. Like, he's almost like the Oswald Cobblepot from the Gotham TV series, but even better looking. So I think there's going to be a whole bunch of probably young female fans, if I'm being fair, that will probably do some fan art of that character in particular, because he does not look like the grotesque eyesore that most people know of the Penguin in later games and comics. So it's an interesting one.
I don't know if you're the best judge.
No, I'm really
at
not.
This stage of what women might be doing, Luke.
I'm super not.
No, he really isn't.
And not just women, let's be fair. But anyway.
I apologise for the member of my gender on this podcast.
He's a young
I
hot guy.
appreciate
Okay,
that, Ollie.
let's just leave it there. Harvey Dent's interesting. He very much playing the big sort of loud braggart, semi douchebag. He's actually running for mayor in this story, which is interesting because I've only sort of known him as Harvey Dent, the district attorney. Ollie, with your knowledge of Batman comics, has Harvey Dent ever run for mayor? Is that something that's ever happened that you're aware of?
Not to my knowledge. He's always been the lawyer guy.
That's what I thought. Like, a lot of his campaigning was about getting elected as DA in the stories that I recall. Yeah. So that's an interesting spin. Carmine Falcone plays a fairly significant role, and one of the things that you have to decide on early on as your role as Bruce Wayne is exactly how friendly you want to get with him in the public eye, because you obviously want to grease some wheels politically to be able to help Harvey sort of get elected, but then by the same token, you don't want to be seen consorting with known criminals. So there's some good choices to be made there. So far, very positive impression of the game. After getting through the technical issues, I'm really enjoying the story, and it's unique enough to keep me engaged without retreading the same ground that, say, like the Arkham games have in recent times. So, yeah, couple thumbs up.
Good.
Worth checking out. And the other game, which we've all been playing heaps of, we're going to talk about later in this episode. So was there anything else that we want to quickly touch on before we jump into some news? No?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So, I think
easy.
one of the themes this week, I guess, and this is kind of where we all found ourselves playing a particular game, was we're all kind of getting ready with various levels of bated breath for No Man's Sky, and it seems like the entire internet is following in that sort of theme as well. There's been a few early reports coming out about the game, which is now, as of this moment, live on PS4. So PS4 version's launched. The day one patch has dropped. PC launch is happening 2 days from now, if we've got our maths correct. And that's the one that I think we're all going to be playing. Am I correct in that all four of us looking at picking this game up? I know, Imogen, you are.
Yeah.
Jen? Yep.
Yeah, obviously, yep.
I'm meh.
Yeah.
I have caved.
You've
I've
caved.
just seen, from what I've seen so far, I won't pick it up just because I want player interaction in that game.
Yeah.
It would just be a very lonely experience.
Well, see, what I want to do is I want to sit on my PC playing it on Marvel with you guys, talking about, oh, neat, I just did this cool thing and found a thing.
And no one will be able to see it.
No, it's just stories, man. Stories. Stories
Yeah.
are good.
Yeah, stories are good, don't get me wrong. I love books as well. I don't need to buy, a $100 book, though.
I think that's probably the sticking point for a lot of people, the price for that type of experience. People who are going in expecting multiplayer, I think it's quite clear now that they're going to be disappointed. But people who are going
me.
in... Yeah, exactly. But by
The
now,
thing
you
with
shouldn't be
them-
expecting that. Yeah.
No, I
The thing
shouldn't.
with multiplayer is they never confirmed it. It's one. It's another one of those things that they never promised. They never said was going to be a feature of the game.
Yeah.
They said, the likelihood of bumping there, could be an opportunity where you might bump into, other players. But they said, they were working on that or deciding that was a year ago. And then since then they've said, look, don't count on a multiplayer. They've said multiple times. It's just. The hype was like, oh, maybe they'll include it anyway, or maybe they'll include it anyway. So all of these reviews, people going, oh, it's not multiplayer. I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Read
here's
the actual
counterpoint.
reports. Yeah.
You go, yes, this is that style of game, but at that point then what do you have? You have a resource gathering exploration game.
Yep.
The end.
It's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
How
It's said
do
to be
you
quite
know that?
relaxing.
I mean, that's
have you
what
played
it's
it yet?
aiming to be.
Yeah,
I will
but-
enjoy. It's like, okay, Fallout 4. I have hardly played the storyline. I have spent many, many hours just exploring to see what's around the corner. I'm going to enjoy this game because I won't have
Now,
any expectations.
Here's the difference, though. Fallout 4, every single part of that is crafted. This is procedurally generated.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference in quality when it comes to procedural generated stuff versus, air quotes, handcrafted, I'm going to say. But actually, like, someone going out and making it will make a better thing that's more of a complete experience than something that's been random zeros and ones have been mashed together in a sequence.
I appreciate that, but I think my expectations are realistic, and I'm going to enjoy just spending time, just quiet time, just looking.
Oh yeah, like I will check out a couple of streams potentially first. I may pick it up if I like what I see, but I'm not sold on it yet.
Yeah, you can
From
always
what
watch
I've
one of
seen.
us play it through Steam with a slight delay.
Exactly. And look,
Yeah.
if I like it, I'll buy it. If not, I'll go, meh.
Yeah. And that's, not everybody needs to like it. I think it's because
According
it's
to the
been
internet, they
coming
do.
for so, yeah, I know. So it's one of those things that because it's been coming for so long and it is so different in terms of the size of the universe and the way that everything will run. I'm just excited. I think for me, this is kind of a half Fallout 4, half Journey-esque. A lot of people have described it as a relaxing experience, and I think that's probably that's what I want it for. That's ever since I first heard about it, that's what I want it for, is that wandering around, finding things, figuring things out, and, upgrading my resources and those types of things.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not multiplayer and therefore excludes PvP is a big selling point for me. I'd rather play a game. I've got lots of PvP games. They don't need to challenge in that
Oh, no.
space. There's
Don't
lots
get me
of
wrong,
people in there.
I don't want PvP either because people will be giant dickholes. I would like co-op.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
if this
being
is
able
a
to
game
go,
that...
here's this cool planet. Do you want to explore it with me? Sure. Or like, oh, I really want to get these resources. Care to, help me with a shuttle run? Sure. Like, that sounds cool. Or I'm having some trouble with these alien guys on this planet and I can't get this base free. Can you help me out? Yeah, all right. Have a few players come down. That's the sort of game that would be really good for me personally.
Yeah. That sounds pretty cool. And maybe it was just one of those things that in the initial sort of scoping up of it, that sounded really cool to them as well. But the reality of that is quite huge. I mean, you can pause the game. And for number one, as soon as people realize you could pause the game, they should know that can't ever be multiplayer. And so, yeah, I understand that people are a bit concerned, but I'm going to have my first shot at it tomorrow on the PS4, and then I'll play a little bit on the PC on the weekend when I can get some time in my own game. But I'm really excited. I don't think, and none of the reports have coloured my excitement or hype for the game at all. Just reached a nice state of zen. It's like Christmas. To play it tomorrow.
I've been
Very
paying
excited.
a lot of attention to the No Man's Sky buzz in the last few months, and sort of coming into this week or so, my expectations had been severely muted because I think a lot of us have been seeing that this game has become a massive victim of its own hype, and despite the fact that it's being published by Sony, a lot of people need to remember that this is a small indie studio that's been working on it for the last X number of years. So it's one of their first biggest releases, so that they're as yet reasonably untested. So, but that being said, like the early reports that have been coming out, I think there's been a common theme of, be aware that if you're expecting the game to be this, you will be disappointed. But that aside, I'm cautiously optimistic about what I'm seeing. I think there's a lot of positive stuff there. So, yeah.
I think the best part about it is because it is a big release, but from a small studio, there's almost like a personal connection. I know that there's been a lot of people posting a letter that came with some of the pre-release versions of the game, which explained from the lead developer, from the head of the studio, the idea where the game came from, and that he's really passionate about it, and that this is the best and the worst time for him. And it's very honest and very open. And in this sort of day and age where we're all quite quick to jump on and bash and hate, I think this is a game that they've developed as a passion and with a very specific and very different idea. So they're hoping, I guess, potentially in vain, that the internet will see it for what it is, which is just art. What they've created is art, and they hope that everybody enjoys it.
I think that's a really good description for it, actually.
Yeah, you don't really, it's different. It's going to be hopefully, replicable for other, but maybe they'll, as a result of No Man's Sky, Ollie, you will get your game that'll be similar to this on that scale, or maybe there'll be a version of No Man's Sky
it's called
released
EVE Online.
Yeah.
It's already been done. That's why I'm disappointed.
Needs a
Because
reboot.
it's already there.
Yeah, but let's treat it for what it is. But yeah, well, I mean, next Wednesday could be a different thing. I could go, well, I'm not really enjoying it, or it didn't really hold my attention.
And I could love it
very
potentially.
Much doubt that.
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But I'm still excited to play.
I'm fascinated more than anything else, and I feel like I have to smell the milk to see if it's off or whether it tastes glorious. So I don't know.
Wow.
Have you ever drank milk before, Luke? That's not how you test milk.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool.
Good Lord, man. Reboot your brain.
So a couple of people have been reporting, and I believe these people were actually streaming No Man's Sky gameplay, and somehow they actually managed to find themselves on the same planet together, and they were able to confirm somehow that the landmarks that they were experiencing were exactly the same. And they sort of positioned themselves in the same location and couldn't see each other, so virtually proving that the chances of encountering someone in person in the universe are non-existent because the game won't actually allow for that. And the developers were never really clear about whether that was the case or not. It's been clear that it is a shared universe, so if you were to name or interact with the environments and sort of make permanent changes on your game, that should be replicated for other people to encounter in their universes as well, but never been sort of clearly determined whether you could see other players or not. Now it appears that no, that's not the case. So,
I will say that there wasn't a statement or an article released from one of the devs or the game studio head, which did say, this is something we are exploring. We can't confirm it, but if you're looking for a multiplayer game, don't count on it. And that was what he said. So people have gone, they're thinking about it. Got all excited. And I know they didn't say it is not multiplayer as a feature or whatever else, but it wasn't listed. If you buy it on Steam, it's not listed as multiplayer. It's not listed that way on PS4 either. So it's sort of, like you say, it's a victim of its own hype in that it can say that it's not something, but if lots of people say it might be this, everyone still goes on and goes, oh, it's not this.
Yeah. I think it's a lot smarter for them to demonstrate that it's not a multiplayer experience, but leave the door open to introduce elements of it down the track without setting the expectation for those elements. So, but
you're setting expectation. If you say maybe it'll come in the future, then everyone will be like, "Where's the patch with the multiplayer?"
Yeah, no, I mean they have sort of said that they're introducing other elements, like base building is one of the things they're going to be looking at in the near future. Cool. They've stated so. That could be interesting, and that could be a solo experience similar to how Fallout 4 has handled a lot of the construction type stuff, because you don't really get to share that with other people either. It's just for your own pleasure and benefit. But yeah, I don't know, people still love that kind of stuff, and a lot of people tend to show it off by posting pictures or showing video of it online these days anyway. So yeah. I don't know,
well,
interesting.
Jam and I spoke about it before, and even if it was multiplayer, we'd sort of organised, meet up, go, hey, cool, look at this thing. I'll come show you this thing. I went, cool, all right, see you later. And we go do our own
I'm going to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of look at it as, if we all happen to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and we're on the main factory floor, there is no friggin' way we'd all stay together. We'd be running off to go sample whatever we wanted, whatever caught our eye.
It is so difficult. I am afeared of when we play WoW, if we try and get all of us in the same place. You're going to be Leroy Jenkins, that much is clear, Luke. But it's going to be like herding cats. It's bad enough as it is with Overwatch, so... It's bad enough in real life when we're trying to organise things. Jeez.
No.
That's true.
Yep. One other interesting thing that, just before we get off the topic of No Man's Sky, that was sort of spoken about today is that the No Man's Sky creators were talking about the yet to be fully revealed PlayStation Neo plans and how that might play into No Man's Sky as a game and whether they would be able to optimize it for efficiency on that platform. And what they sort of turned around and said is that due to the power and sort of graphics differences that would afford, they would virtually have to redesign core elements of the game to make the best use of it, which they were actually looking at the possibility of doing, which was weird. So,
yeah. Well, you're looking at, they pushed this back so far that it got close enough to the Neo to have to make that decision about, do we delay it further?
Yeah.
And to be honest, if they delayed it again and said, oh, but, it's so we can put on another PS4, there would be a world of PC players who would be that annoyed at them. So,
yeah.
Imogen would be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have maintained the good fight. I've
I
staunchly stood by No Man's Sky for
don't get
over
me
a
wrong
year.
here.
I can do it more.
I want you to love the shit out of this game. Like, if you come on next week and go, guys, No Man's Sky, I'm disappointed. I will actually feel sad for you.
Aw, thanks.
Aw.
I appreciate it. I'll be
Ollie's
sad
heart
too.
grew a size.
Like, as much as I personally don't think I'm going to like it, I really hope you do for that reason.
Damn
Because
feels,
you've
man.
been so excited about it.
It's funny because
Yeah.
I've got a totally different image in my head of Ollie literally licking the tears off your face. So I don't know.
Oh,
What's going on with you today? What is happening
your
in Luke
coffee?
World?
No, I've got it right here. So
Do you have an aneurysm? What's going on?
okay,
Actual fuck.
moving on.
Can we just
Please
mute Luke
do.
somehow?
Can we,
Yeah.
can we
I can. I'm in charge of the call.
let's segue into PlayStation stuff. So, Neo, while we're on the topic of that, Sony has actually announced that they are running a big media event in New York City next month to discuss details about the PlayStation business. And it is pretty strongly rumored that that's going to be where the big unveiling is going to be for the Neo. So they haven't settled on whether that's going to be, anywhere, close to what the actual name is. Neo's kind of been the code name we've all known up until this point, unlike Microsoft that has sort of come out and said, this is what we're calling it Scorpio. Neo was never really a strong thing other than what the media outlets sort of latched onto and said, this is codename Neo. Whether they're going to call it
Morpheus.
yeah, well, I don't know. Are they going to call it the PlayStation 4.5 or the PS4K or something like that? We don't know. So, but yeah, once they actually
PS4S.
form, no, I don't think I'll do that. Given it'll be a little too confusing with Microsoft stuff. But yeah, so there's not a lot we know so far, but now we've actually got a firm date of when this is all going to start getting talked about. That gives us a little bit more clarity about what's happening with PlayStation, which is good. So.
Is
Yeah.
anyone else excited that it's at least a month and a bit before PAX? So PlayStation will be there, hopefully,
Yep.
I assume. So that'll be super exciting.
yeah.
Can you hear my excitement? That's how excited I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we
In Overwatch news.
sure. Let's talk
Yeah,
about Overwatch.
take that. I'd see your crappy segue and raise you a crappier one. So there's a cool game mode in Overwatch called Lucio Ball, where it's literally Overwatch getting a slice of the Rocket League pie, and where you play Lucio, and then I'm going to say stupid player because he was streaming, players realize that you can actually swap heroes out in that mode simply by pressing the swap hero button. And so they've had other heroes in Lucio Ball, and the Lucios can't do damage or anything like that, whereas the other heroes can.
Oh my goodness.
So
So it's
cheeky.
very interesting. And yeah, so I actually, after this bug got announced, I actually tried to hop on for a little bit, and I experienced this. It was not fun. And then I had some people in my team go, "Why aren't you using the bug?" To which I replied, "I don't want to be banned." And then I left that game. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one.
Well, the hero
Blizzard
you get
is
is
very firm,
Random though, isn't it? Like you can't actually select
is.
one. Yeah.
but guess what? It's a hero that can actually do damage.
Yeah.
So cool. But yeah, Blizzard is very firm on the whole, if you use any bug exploits like this, we're going to ban the shit out of you, because that's what Blizzard does. So
Yeah.
fair warning. And they did ban the guy who streamed it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a bit silly for streaming. Hey guys, look what I can do. This is my Blizzard account name. So for any Blizzard employees watching, you know where to find me. Goodness gracious me.
yeah,
Quality
that's
stuff.
what's
Wow,
new in
that doesn't.
Overwatch.
I'm sad. So has it been fixed, or are they taking it down to fix it, or?
I actually genuinely don't know.
No, it hasn't. They're looking at ways to fix it, but apparently they're having some trouble with it. But I got to wonder whether it's actually in their best interest, sort of time and effort wise, to put a fix in, given that it's a limited time mode anyway. So
They
But it's still got
should,
12
just
days.
because, exploiters going to exploit,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it ruins the mode for the other 14 million people that play the game.
yeah, no, exactly.
So
Yeah, if it's supposed to be a draw card to re-engage some people who maybe dropped off when competitive happened, then they're really going to want it to be something you can actually play, and you're not just going to...
Exactly.
Like the GTA mods, you just stop playing the game for a week until they figure that stuff out for the online game.
Avoid it totally.
Also, I should mention, this just in, no one noticed the 14 million one. Overwatch apparently has topped 15 million.
Yeah,
Wow.
latest Blizzard
Which is
Activision earnings call. Yep, that was good. So,
That's a lot of people.
When they last announced the numbers, it was
is.
only around 7 million, so that's pretty good progress there.
Well, did they have, 10 for the beta, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Solid
It's impressive.
growth.
Well, that's active users after it's
That's
been
what
out
she
for a
said.
while as well. So it means that they've actually kept that up and maintained by the content that they've been adding and the seasonal structure and the new character and all that sort of stuff. There hasn't been an immediate drop off, which a lot of new releases suffer. So yeah.
I do wonder if there's any sort of self-cannibalization, if that's a kind of redundant statement, cannibalization of their from their other games. So if Overwatch is, doing really well, does this mean that Heroes of the Storm is experiencing a big drop? StarCraft.
It already was.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Or, even World of Warcraft. So when World of Warcraft comes out, is the news story going to be like, World of Warcraft is back up to, this many people, but, in whispered
Yes, 'cause
hush
it's called
tones, they don't talk about
advertising.
that Overwatch, goes down kind of thing. So
I think it could be
that's
right on
really good for
certain
Overwatch,
games.
but it's a bit of a worry for Blizzard if they're bringing out so many of their own games that are very successful. There's got to be a high proportion us as great examples where we're not going to play multiple of them at the same time necessarily.
No, that's true. I
Hearthstone.
think you probably see the biggest relationship between Heroes and Overwatch because they're, similar kind of competitive themed games. World of Warcraft maybe because I think that's almost like the default for a lot of Blizzard fans, and they'll tend to go back to WoW when WoW's got stuff going on, but otherwise they might not be.
They'll come back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're another good example. Hearthstone, I don't think so much because Hearthstone is such a casual format game that you can literally jump in and out of it at a moment's notice without committing to longer play periods. And because that can be played on the go mobile as well, I think it probably doesn't suffer quite as much from the shared player base. But no,
That's a good point.
You raise a good point. Yeah. I mean, as an example, I have played a lot less Heroes of the Storm and more Overwatch since Overwatch came out, but it hasn't impacted my Hearthstone playtime at all because of those reasons. So,
I miss Heroes of the Storm, guys.
Yeah. Heroes.
I don't.
Heroes, still awesome game, still lots of cool stuff being added to that. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll jump in again at some point. Be all right. Maybe during the off-season, possibly, for Overwatch.
God, can you imagine how good everyone's going to be at the game by the time we go back? Jeez.
Well, a lot of people like us might be jumping back in as well and sucking quite just as badly. So, you just don't know. Yeah. So speaking of sucking badly, we all know that Pokemon Go has had a big issue with their nearby Pokemon tracking system, which has been sucking badly of recent times. So badly, in fact, that Niantic basically removed the feature altogether while they were working on fixing it or replacing it or whatever they were doing. It seems now that it's on the verge of a new breakthrough, according to some players who have got access to a revamped version of the feature. So they've got a beta test group that's looking at a new way of tracking Pokemon that they're implementing. So it actually got updated this week to change the image on a lot of people's screens as now instead of now showing the Pokemon itself, it's showing a new image with grass and the Pokemon hiding behind the grass, which is a kind of weird change to it. Replaces the footstep sort of footprint image that was there before. But it looks like what might actually be coming is a more detailed image of the Pokemon standing in front of one of the pictures of the landmarks, similar to what you see when you actually visit a Pokestop. So it might give you a much better indication of what landmark, whatever you're hunting for, is closely situated to. So it may not sort of pinpoint the distance or the map location, but by looking at those pictures, it might give you a pretty informed idea as to where to find it. So that could be a good feature.
I think it does. It does look like it's the actual Pokestop photo. So it's not like they've gone out and taken a whole bunch of new photos. They're basically saying if you go to this Pokestop, you will find this Pokemon or this Pokemon.
Or it's closest.
It'll be close.
Yeah, close enough to that if you stand on the stop or around the stop, you should bump into it basically.
Yeah.
But that's all conjecture at the moment based on people guessing and those types of things. I think that's kind of a cool idea. If you know your area well enough, that brings back the sort of the exploration sort of side of the game, and you get to know your areas a bit more. It's more sort of wandering around. But I don't know. I'm getting a real sense that it's dying.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
I don't know. I just, I myself haven't sort of played a whole bunch, and everyone's sort of in this end game mode where everyone's sort of, cranking out levels and those types of things. So it's not as exciting as it was, those pictures they get of you, like the first Pidgey you get and you're like, oh my God, Pidgey, yay! And then like, the 100th Pidgey you get and you're like, yeah, like through the
Down
grinder.
the tube you go.
Thanks for the candy. Like I've even like gone on, walks and things like that, and not gone, should I turn it on? Nah, I can't be bothered. Like, it's not holding my interest. If I don't go somewhere new to find new Pokemon, like if it's just around my immediate area, I'm always finding the same types of Pokemon. So I don't know.
I was actually
Generally,
reading.
I also work with kids a fair bit in my day job, and 2 weeks ago they were all about the Pokemons, and now they're like, yeah, we do it every now and again, kind of thing. And they're always a great indicator of trend.
What's going on? Yeah.
I will reaffirm that trend as someone else who works with children.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
they're still...
I don't think there's any doubt that it's peaked. But
oh yeah, the peak has happened.
Yeah. I was actually reading a really interesting article on LinkedIn today. The article was written by a guy named Dan Porter, who was actually the guy who 4 years ago made Draw Something. So you might remember that as a really popular and successful mobile game, which exploded in. It had about 50 million downloads within the course of a couple of months. So it's a good comparison basis for Pokemon Go, like another example of an explosive mobile game that's had a lot of people pick it up, and it's had massive success in a short period of time. But the article was generally talking about how you can break down the categories of people who play these sorts of games to the early adopters, to the core players, to the ones that are kind of just the fad driven crowd, and how there's a big drop off with the fad crowd after a while, but that kind of just leaves the core element of the people who are going to be playing the game for a lot longer period, and they're kind of your stable base. So once you get past that initial push, when you drop back to those numbers, it's a much more solid experience for all of the remaining people playing the game, because they're generally positive about it, and they're not talking crap about the game on social media and all that sort of thing. It's the people who genuinely love the game and will play it as intended, rather than just because it's the cool new thing. So there could be something to that. I don't know. Wait and see what happens. It's still only been out for like a month and a half, 2 months. Are we even there yet? I don't know. Has it been 2 months?
I don't even know, because I paid such little attention.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it's been just over one.
Just over one. Cool. Actually feels like longer. But anyway. In other news, we've also got some stuff happening with Hitman. So I'm becoming more and more keen to play this game. So the episodic Hitman game, it's been running for a while now. They've been releasing episodes for going on the last few months. Now, it seems that Hitman, through a tweet that was intercepted from the game's developers, could actually be extended to potentially 3 seasons long. And to give you an idea of how that sits with the current episodic cycle, they're only about halfway through what would be season 1. So that's a pretty massive game experience, and it has been drawing rave reviews due to the episodic model with this particular game. So, the ability to actually go in on one of the missions, go on a hit, replay that mission multiple times, work out different ways to interact with the target and try and take them out in new and inventive ways. The elusive targets they've been running as the promotions, where you only get one shot at taking out like a high-profile target, all that kind of stuff. It's becoming really increasingly interesting to me, and I'm going to play this game in the very near future, I think. So, and if it's got legs for that long, I think that's a good sign of things to come. So, yeah. And Ollie, every time I play Hitman or think about playing Hitman, I picture you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's a very easy cosplay for me, let's put it that way.
It is.
I'd go down that route.
Mm-hmm. Either that or Saitama, so you're going to have to make a choice. Yeah.
I am okay with both of these things.
What about Rocket League? You okay with that? What's going on with that?
There's a cool new update with it called the Rumble mode. Apparently Jamie wanted to introduce this, but fuck it, I am.
I did because I had a story.
Go on then,
damn
Jen.
it.
Well, you go then.
So I ran into my brother the other day, and he looked like death. And I was like, what's going on? He had spent his entire night sleeping in 2-hour intervals, so that he could watch the Rocket League Championship Series live. And oh my God, he showed me highlights, gifs of the good plays. Phenomenal. The skill these people have is insane. But then he said, have you heard about Rumble? I was like, huh? And he played. Have you guys seen the trailer?
Yep.
Yes.
I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I got the impression that what it is similar to the mutations that we've experienced in Move or Die.
thinking even... Yes, actually, that's probably not a fair...
Yeah.
So it starts off normal Rocket League game, and then it goes into slow-mo, and there's a car flying at this air ball, all beautifully lined up and perfect, and out of the side of the screen, this boot on a spring launches into it and kicks it out of the way. They're introducing all of these new little gimmicks. Oh my God, it looks like so much fun. I'm so excited. I've got a list. I'm on the website. In private and exhibition matches, you can have specific mutators. One's the boot. There's one called a disruptor, which forces your opponent to drive uncontrollably. There's a freezer, which freezes the ball in place, so you just see people flying past it because it's stopped. There's a grappling hook, a haymaker, a magnetizer, a plunger, a power hitter, a spike, a swapper that lets you change positions on the field with your opponent, and a tornado. Wow. A tornado that you can unleash.
I want the spike.
I am so excited to get back into this game.
It's such a fun little game, and you can just sort of pick it up and play, a couple of rounds or whatever else. But then you do get a bit addicted. Like one more game, one more game.
This may tempt me to have a go, I must admit.
Well, maybe. Because you can inflict death on other people.
No, just because I think it becomes less super sporty and more crazy weirdness, and with that, and that appeals to me a bit more personally. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't know.
It's going to be chaos. It's going to be so hard to predict or read anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's fun though. Good chaos.
Yeah. So that update's out in September, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And it's free. They're like GTA. They keep releasing and supporting the fans with all of this amazing free content. And the prize pools in the championship series was amazing. They're just
Why is
doing
Sam not
remarkably
competing?
well. I know, right? I'm going to tell him.
That would be so good. If you want chaos, then World of Warcraft, your pre-purchases of the Legion expansion will now have available to them the Demon Hunters. There is already a level 100 Demon Hunter that I saw today, an article about that looked badass. So all ready for Legion to come out in World of Warcraft, which will be the expansion which will take players from 100 level to 110. So the Demon Hunter class is, for those who aren't aware, so the Burning Crusade introduced a protagonist by the name of Illidan Stormrage. I nearly got it 100% right.
You are not prepared. That guy.
Exactly right. I was not prepared. Anyway, he plays a large role himself, and it talks a lot about his demon hunters, but you don't really get to understand a lot about their story, where they came from. They're just the bad guys. So in the new expansion, they're going to be reintroduced, and it gives them an opportunity. So the article released today by Blizzard says gives them a really good opportunity to explore what happened to the demon hunters and who they are and why they are the way that they are, and really go into that sort of backstory. So as you can imagine, if you've ever played World of Warcraft or Heroes of the Storm for that matter, because Illidan is a character in that, if you were wondering where he came from, then all demon hunters have the sort of double scythe, and they revealed that there'll be 2 different ways that you can play them, which seems really cool. Basically, the main benefit to demon hunter, each class in World of Warcraft has kind of a unique racial ability, and for demon hunters it is that they the class ability, and it is that they can glide and double jump, but they can also sort of save up their Fey power, which for those of you who watch the Warcraft movie is the green stuff, and use it for sort of special move abilities, or to be ultra agile and perform sort of big leaps and jumps and those types of things. So really cool. Good for, it looks like it will be suitable for those players who sort of prefer rogue types normally. It's very upfront, it's very in your face. You have to do a lot of strategy work in terms of using your opponent's own abilities against them. So you'd have to, probably a bit of a tilt to the players who've played World of Warcraft for a while, I'd say. But it looks kind of cool. Not my cup of tea. I don't really like being in the face of big bad guys. But I'm sure we'll see a whole group of people being demon hunters for sure.
So the demon hunters are prestige class, similar to the Death Knights, and the Death Knights you have to start at level 50 or level 60. Is that right?
50. Yep.
50. So do we know if the demon hunters have to start at a high level, or can you play them through from 0?
I'm assuming they're starting at a higher level if they've already got 100 running about. but I'm not sure what that level is because I haven't actually taken the leap and gone back into World of Warcraft yet. But if, like you say, the prestige classes, they start later on in the scale of things, because basically that's the lore behind things like Death Knights and Demon Hunters is that they will get turned at some point. And it doesn't make any sense that they sort of come into the world like that. They are very high-powered beings and those types of things. So that was the reason for the Death Knights to come in at level 50.
Because otherwise, to make it make sense mechanically, you'd have to play another character class and then transition at some point. And that's not a great experience for people who don't want to play that other class. So,
exactly. Yeah. And same Demon Hunters. You play sort of various different styles of Demon Hunter and spec yourself your own way. But it'll be interesting. I'd have a character. Maybe if I jump back in and pre-purchase it, which I haven't done yet, I might sort of give Demon Hunter a go just to see what it's like. I've tried every single other type, so I might as well. I am quite partial to Death Knight, so I was going to continue along that path, but maybe this will be for me. Who knows? But it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I do like the double scythes. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. It is pretty sweet.
I've
Illidan's
always
a cool
been a
character.
fan of Mr. Stormrage. Always a big fan.
I'm just looking forward
Great
to seeing
voice
the
acting.
new story stuff for all of the classes, because apparently there's some pretty significant additions for each class, depending on what you play, particularly in their starting areas, that will flesh out their tail and link to their legendary weapons a little bit and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, they've got a lot of story to tell. Like the Legion story is, as we discussed a little bit when we talked about the Vivid Adventure story or whatever it was called that was being released, the podcast audiobook, that there's a little, and the same thing happened with Warlords as well. There's sort of this whole piece at the beginning, like a prologue that you have to kind of play through, that kind of links how everything happened and takes you through effectively a training montage.
Yeah.
But need a montage.
Exactly. But it's kind of cool, and I remember the Warlords of Draenor one just being absolutely epic and just being entirely overwhelmed by what was happening with so many actual players and PvE running about. So I'm looking forward to it.
It is a busy month for shoresies. Blizzard's going to get a stack of my cash this month between this and One Night at Karazhan, which is out in like a couple of days. So, yep, sounding good. But until then,
I cannot believe
Jam, what have we been playing
that
this week, and what are we talking about tonight?
Well, I think, so I think we all started playing this game in the last week because of Memo's No Man's Sky yearning.
Yes.
Is that how? Yeah. So we've had a game on our Game of the Month list for a while now, and it hasn't been rolled. We finally caved and started playing it anyway. And it's called Starbound.
We should probably add to this
it.
that the reason why we were all keen to play this is because Jamie was generous enough to actually gift it to all of us for Christmas earlier in the year.
Yeah, like
Yay,
months
Christmas
ago.
present.
Mm.
And Jamie and I had like a little play in it and things, but we were like, oh, it'll be great when we get everybody on. And I think we just sort of had a time where everyone was available, and it's like, well, they've released all of the sort of final content, and it's a full game, so let's go.
Finally out of early access, and it's amazing. And I've been having fun because I've put some time into it previously, like well over a year ago, and there's so much new stuff. It's been really fun experiencing it with you guys. I love it.
So it's basically a new game released like late last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's a gorgeous little 2D space exploration game based on resource gathering. So think Minecraft, but you've got a spaceship so that you can hop all over the universe, similar to No Man's Sky. And it's endless. I'm fairly certain it's, again, procedurally generated. And when you land on the planet, it just side-scrolls and ends up meeting itself. Like you can go all the way east and end up back at the west at your starting point.
Can you dig through? When you said that, I thought, can I keep digging and come out the other side?
No, you end up
I've
at
never
a
reached the
core.
bottom. Yeah.
Damn it.
It used to be, I haven't since the full game got released, but it used to be you'd come across a core of lava or bedrock that you can't get through.
Okay.
And you could just fall to your death if it's lava. Very dangerous. Don't dig straight down, people.
Minecraft 101.
Yeah. You start with character creation, and it's so cute. It's all pixelated, and they're so adorable. I love how you can not only choose hairstyles and outfits, but the way your character stands, so that they've got a personality. You can have all of this attitude, and so funny.
They can wear different pants and have cool hair, and they've got outfits. Jamie was sold.
Yeah, it's adorable. And there's costumes in game. That's a bonus. But you wake up on your spaceship and it's broken down. You're in orbit over a planet. And in order to get your spaceship going again, you need to beam down to the planet and start gathering resources. And it's just the start of your tech progression. That's how the game sort of levels up. Your character doesn't level, but you just improve your tech consistently through the resource generating. And there's just so much to do and craft and experience. I adore it. And you guys seem to be having fun.
Yep.
I love this game. It is good fun. Mostly because I settled in and kind of went, let's explore. I'm like, oh, someone needs to build a garden. I'm the official. Like, I get a little bit carried away with assigning myself specific roles, but I had a great time setting up a little garden, and I traveled planet to planet looking for rare seeds, and I'm not very good at the fighting part because there is monsters. I'm not great at that.
The combat is a little tricky.
It's a little bit sort of... loosely, I would sort of equate it to, it seems like it's almost like it's turn-based in a way, in the way that, you're...
No, come on.
It's not turn-based.
No.
I
was equating
sort of
it more to
cooldown.
the cooldown areas and those types of things, and different monsters have different sort of attack styles and those types of things.
Yeah.
And as you level up, they seem to get a lot difficult.
Yes.
They don't seem to get easier as you level up. So,
Well, it depends how you
interesting.
travel. So, if you stick to is it the cool stars or the mild stars, and the general sort of jungly planets, you'll stick on they'll all be starter planets or similar to that. So the way the planet's difficulty and loot progresses is you switch to different types of stars. Like I think you go next to a radioactive star system to get to the next set of planet difficulties. And then after that, I think is the cold star.
Frozen stars, dead stars.
Frozen, and then it's the fire. Yeah, and so they just get progressively more difficult, and you need certain equipment before you can even think of exploring in those systems. Otherwise, your character will just die. So it's very cleverly done. But there's more of a quest line to it now and a story element than there was when I first played, which is really interesting.
Just the most annoying race of flower people I've ever met. I was like, oh, flower people, this will be fun. No.
Yeah. I like the fact that you can play as all of those races too. Like when you're doing your character, there's literally like 7 different races you can play as. So you've got, what were they? Humans, obviously, with the obvious ones. You've got the Florians, which were the flower people you just mentioned. The Avians, so they're like bird
That's
people.
what I am.
Yeah, that's what, yep. Apex,
There's
which I think are
robots.
kind of like a, monkey type race. Yeah, the robots. I think they were called the Glitch. Is that right?
Yep, that was the glitch.
Yep.
And the flamey Novas? The
Nova Kids. Nova
There
Kids.
is one more. There was the fishy guys. I know this because I was one.
I actually just did the quest line with them. That's the Hilotl, I think.
Hilotl, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
As in axolotls.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the male-female
We all got
symbols for the robots are the male-female power plug.
Yeah.
Pictures are so funny. So
Yeah.
cute.
That was cool.
Oh, but there's so much to do, and the game doesn't. You can follow the quest line if you want, but you don't have to, and you can make money in so many different ways.
Pixels is
like-
the universal currency in the game.
Yeah, it's just adorable.
So things blow up and you get pixels from them. There's pixels in the ground.
Yeah,
you can sell food
stuff.
for pixels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always loved the gardening mechanic ever since they brought it in. But there look to be a lot more recipes now than when I last played. Every time you make a new recipe with an item, it'll unlock another one. So it just keeps expanding and expanding. And
Yeah,
there's
guys, I just got
costumes.
bacon pancakes. Pretty kick-ass.
Bacon pancakes.
Everyone would be getting bacon pancakes. I just spent my favourite part was I was sort of busy gardening and just quite happy doing that. And I think it was Luke and Jam. You were off like exploring. I was like, right, I'm full of like food. Who's hungry? And I just sort of zap to you. Zip zap, which is my favourite part. You get to beam up to your ship and beam back down. You can beam to people in your party or beam to their ship. And sort of deliver food and then zip out again. Which I just think is kind of a nice mechanic. Like, don't make it you have to walk everywhere or walk to a certain place. You just have to sort of be in open air and you can always beam back to your ship.
Yeah. I love it how we've
just
got this
makes more sense with the
infinite
thing.
reach of space to explore, and Imogen immediately wants to be a waitress and a farmer.
I'm a
It's great,
helping.
though.
I'm a humanitarian. Get stuffed.
We
But
all
you're not a
chose
humanitarian
survival
because you
characters.
chose a different race.
I'm a birditarian.
Yeah, sure.
An no, I don't know. I'm not even going to try.
Avery attorney. Yeah, sure. No.
Oh, that game. Oh,
Distracted.
No, I'm going to add it back to the list. Yeah.
Sorry, Jan,
So
what were you saying?
we all made survival characters, which means our characters can get quite hungry quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It means we drop items and lose 30% of our pixels if we die.
Which happens
Very
a lot.
challenging.
Yeah.
We keep
I
getting
died a
hungry.
I lost a lot of pixels.
Oh, really?
I
Get better.
like that in some instances, though, you
Good.
don't lose, you only lose pixels, you don't lose your stuff. So it's not like you have to go back in and pick up all your exploded gubs.
Yeah, that
Um,
seems to be in the quest instances.
Well, it's very much like
They're
Minecraft.
very challenging too.
It's like Minecraft, where if you die somewhere hazardous, going back and getting your gear is equally hazardous. So you want to not do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what, they really like that. But whereas if you die on like the planet, you do have to traipse back to go get your stuff. It is a bit frustrating that you can't just trade directly. So if I accidentally pick up something Jamie wants, we have to like build a crate, put that crate down, put the thing in the crate.
Yeah, I keep wondering if we're missing a mechanic because it should be
Like,
better
we can
than
just
that.
throw it down on the ground or something. I just want to be able to like, no, I don't. Here you go, have it.
Well, it's probably a
So-
good moment to talk about the multiplayer aspect of the game because
That's
it's
what I
kind
was
of
gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be designed mostly around single player, but the multiplayer's been working well. So yeah, go James.
It is designed to be a single player game, but with a bit of effort, you can set up a dedicated server. I know there are public ones available too. I've never tried them, but you can set up a dedicated server. So I've done that, and whenever I launch it, my friends can connect to it directly, and it's worked really well. I am very happy. The only issue is all of the planets on my server won't be accessible for you guys if you launch it as a single player game, but your character, their inventory, and everything on their ship is persistent. It's saved server side, and you can carry it over to any server you want. So that's why
It makes sense.
it's great because you
It
can
makes
develop
thematic sense. Yeah.
your ship, and the way you do it's changed. I haven't figured that out yet, but
I figured
as
it out
time
today.
goes on, oh, excellent.
Yeah.
You can add rooms to your ship so that you've got more and more space to store stuff.
My ship is crowded, guys. My little rabbit pet is struggling for space.
No, I figured out today that the way you have to upgrade your ship is there's a quest line that opens up after you start recruiting a couple of crew, and I now have penguin mercenaries, so I'm ready to get to that stage.
Wow.
The animals are so cute in this game. The penguins.
Did you
just
get that from
adorable.
Dreadwing?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
How did you defeat him? Oh, God, anyway.
I'll talk about that in a minute.
So difficult. So difficult.
Mad hacks.
So difficult,
Yeah.
but so awesome. Yeah. I love it. I love that it's challenging. It used to be you'd sort of craft an item to summon a boss, and it wasn't especially difficult because you did it on an ordinary planet, so you had the capability to destroy the environment and or add to it. So you just make a box for it and summon it in the box, and then you could run around outside the box and shoot it that way. It was it was bull. It's much better now. You go into that instance, and you've got this well-crafted level which you cannot modify. You can loot from chests and stuff and fight the people in it, but you can't modify it. So it makes it more challenging. You have to rely on your skills and your gear, essentially.
Changes your focus too, because you're more, set on beating the level as opposed to mucking around and collecting gear. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good fun.
I was really intrigued and positive about this game as soon as I did a little bit of research on it and discovered that it was published by Chucklefish, which are also the guys that published Stardew Valley. So, but I guess the difference here is that Stardew Valley was only published by Chucklefish, whereas this one's actually developed and published by Chucklefish. So different developers, same publisher, meant game's not necessarily going to be the same. But I think tone-wise, there's a lot of similarities. It almost could be the same developer, the way that a lot of the stuff sort of feels. But yeah, super cool game. I think you can draw a lot of comparisons to Minecraft, and I suspect, although I've not played it, there's probably a few comparisons to be made between it and Terraria. And Ollie, you sort of
Less
said
Minecraft, more Terraria.
more Terraria, yeah.
Yep.
Because it is 2D, it's not a 3D environment. Or actually, no, that's not entirely true. It is kind of slightly
Got background
3D.
and foreground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can mine the background and the foreground. Yeah.
It's 2D, Luke.
Well, it is 2D with an extra layer, almost. It's, weird like
Yeah,
that.
the layer
Like
doesn't
onions.
count though.
Yeah, no, it's true. But like the amount of elements that resemble the platformer sort of element, I thought was really good too. Like I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be much more sort of running around mining and crafting and much less combat and platformer. But there's a huge amount of platform sort of elements and combat stuff. Like the quests and challenges, there's heaps of boss fights. Like the boss fights are massive. The one that Imogen was just referring to earlier, there's one particular boss that I just beat, which is a particularly challenging one at a low equipment level, which we were at, which is basically you get told about a mercenary penguin that's causing some problems to one of the shop owners at your main hub sort of planet. And if you are able to go and defeat him, then you can basically open up a new wing of this particular area, which allows you to recruit mercenaries. So I went into this instance, which was basically like this ice area, and there's a whole bunch of gun-toting sort of soldier penguins there in little battle tanks and things like that. And it's super cute until you realize they can kill you dead in a couple of shots. So you try and annihilate them as fast as you can. But the main penguin that you have to take out, named Dreadwing, he basically rides in this giant flying saucer, and he flies around super fast, like shooting you with lasers, colliding with you, with the main body of the saucer.
Yes,
and you have to try
squishing
and shoot him out of the sky before he drops an army on you and takes you out. And it's really hard. But the way you do it is by having extremely good firepower and a whole lot of armor, and eventually you will have good enough equipment to deal with him. But not an easy fight. But boss fights like that are what has really sold me on this game, because it really mixes it up and makes it quite challenging, and the way that it sort of factors into the story and the quests and unlocks different sort of upgrades for you is super cool. Big fan of that. Yeah.
It really scratches that itch that, in the MMO sort of side of me, that I can stand and I can garden and do whatever I want and sort of do that kind of thing. But I can also go on quests and fight things and get bigger guns and better stuff. And, also they've got the systems of, some items are green or purple. So I started going, this is familiar. I am enjoying this. And those types of things. But yeah, Dreadwing was a bit scary, Jam, and I were not prepared.
Yeah, I went in with a missile launcher that had homing missiles, and used the homing shots to take out all the soldier penguins on the ground, and then just like let rip at the flying saucer in the sky. And took me about half a dozen goes to eventually get it, but yeah, good fun. Now, Ollie, you've been fairly quiet, and I know you've played a little bit of the game, sort of back when it was in early access and a little bit now that it's been released. So what are your general impressions?
It is not my type of game. It's very interesting because, I don't know why. I think it is, for all the things that you guys love it for, I think is why I don't.
I have a theory on why.
Essentially.
But go on.
So I quite enjoy Terraria. I like Minecraft. I like Terraria. I don't enjoy this one for some reason, and I should say I played it in 2 waves similar to Jamie. I did a little bit back a little while ago, and then only a small stint quite recently. And I think I'm just not in the headspace for this style of game anymore at the moment.
Okay.
Like, I definitely have to be in that sort of creative mood, and I've got enough creative outlets that gaming doesn't really address that. So for me at this point in time, not my style of game, which is why I've been very quiet, because I don't want to poo-poo on everyone's parade, because I do that already in the news and the other bits. So that's why, for me personally, I'm not enjoying it. Like, maybe in a few months' time when I need to scratch that digital creative itch, I might enjoy it a lot. That's fine. But at this point in time, I don't.
Oh, that's fair. My thoughts on that, though, and this may or may not be true depending on whether you're willing to put it to the test, I suspect that you maybe didn't enjoy it because you only put a very small amount of time into the released version. And I had a similar experience too. Like the opening hour of playing this game, I wasn't sold on it. Like, it was very much the whole sort of digging and mining and exploring stuff, and that was it. But when I got into the serious platform and combat elements and the story and the progression with the quests and stuff, the game changed massively for me, and now it's much more of a platformer with progression for me than it is the mining and digging and crafting stuff.
Where Terraria ends up going as well.
Yeah. So maybe if you get more into that, you'll probably enjoy it a lot more, but I understand from the opening impressions where your headspace might have been at with it. So, yeah.
Oh, no, like, I know it progresses in a very similar fashion, and I'm okay with that. Like, it's just, for me right now, it's not my type of game.
Yep. But have you found an instrument yet? Because I don't know if
haven't.
Luke has seen this, but Luke,
I've got
you
3.
can play in a band. Yeah, but
Yeah.
have you played with anyone?
Not with someone, no.
Luke only plays with himself.
Thing. Just before we started recording, Imogen and I jumped on. She had her banjo, I had my violin, and I was like, Imogen, put Jam in as a band name and then tell me which song you're playing. And I think she started playing Jingle Bells. I put Jam in as the band name in mine and selected the same song, and because we have the same band name, it syncs us up. So we were harmonising beautifully on our instruments. It was so much fun. We're sitting there bopping along. I love it so much.
Also, there's a little Easter egg in there in that the Stardew theme song is one of those songs I did notice today. So.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It's so cool. And they've introduced an element where you can hatch creatures to produce resources, which I don't think was in it last time I played it. I hatched my own, was it a faloo? I can't remember what he was called. And now we've got this weird cow thing with big ears and a little
Super
chicken.
proud.
He's
Super
very
proud cow.
He's awesome. I love it.
He
But
gave
the
us milk.
dungeoning, the dungeoning is amazing, and that's one of the things that draws me in and has me spending lots of time on it. You start digging underground just to find some ore, and there's monsters in your way, and suddenly you stumble across these ruins or this other little dungeon filled with obstacles with a chest and some awesome loot at the end. Or, as I discovered the other day, which I had never seen before, a tiny gnome city village thing. Freaking adorable.
And then you squish them.
I accidentally squished them and I ended up with in my inventory a little ball of gnomes, which was a throwable item. And I still
You could
haven't
throw
thrown
gnomes
them
at people.
because I feel awful. But their houses were smaller than me.
So what
And
we're
they had
saying
this-
is that Jamie got sick of waiting for next week's game release and started playing Starbound so that in fact she could see No Man's die.
Oh my god.
I was hoping you wouldn't make that joke.
No.
Anyway,
I saw it and I'm like, no, please don't.
Dear me.
Anyway, so it used to be a really rare occurrence where you'd happen across a dungeon, which was like this little thing that they'd crafted, to just pop up now and then underground. Now it's a lot more frequent, and they have these big stone doors too. I haven't ventured through one yet, but it sounds like there's a challenge on the other side and some loot. I don't know the particulars. I was like, I think I need better gear for that.
Yep.
So there's just so much more to do to get distracted by than just straight digging.
Yep.
It's fascinating.
and there is an end game too, like there's an end zone that you're trying to get towards which has some sort of giant sort of Cthulhu-esque alien beast that you have to fight or something, I'm not quite sure. So
Who you meet in
Yeah,
the first
me
10
either.
minutes of the game.
Yeah, that intro was strange.
Good old ruin.
Yep, that's it. So yeah,
See?
individual thoughts on the game, I think for all of us except for perhaps Ollie, very, very positive then.
Oh yeah, and look,
It's fun.
had I played it 7 months ago, 8 months ago, I too would be very positive about it.
Yeah. That's fair. Cool. I think it is going to be an interesting one to have played just before No Man's Sky release, because I think even though the general sort of movement mechanics and visuals of No Man's Sky are going to be very, very different, I wouldn't be surprised if we can maybe draw some parallels for some of the exploration and crafting mechanics of this one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Starbound has different themed planets with different environments, different vegetation, different animals,
Yeah.
even different dirt. There's so much variety. So I think it's going to be very similar in a lot of ways.
Yep. All right. Starbound, check it out. Is good. Good game is good.
It's the best.
And-
It says my
Good fun.
136 hours.
Yep. And reasonably cheap too. I think it was only like $10, $15 US, if I recall.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. So
I can't even remember how much I paid for it.
I think you paid like $50 for 4.
Yeah, that's about right.
No,
There's
but
like a
when I
4-pack.
bought mine originally was well before that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
interesting.
early access price might have been less. I think
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's 10 or 15 or around that price, like the amount of hours that we've all collectively
Oh,
put
yes.
into that game already, definitely worth that. Absolutely.
Worth it.
Yeah. I'm probably upwards of about 30 hours in the game already. I wouldn't be
It's
surprised.
gorgeous, and if you've got friends, it's worth going through the hassle to set up a static IP and put forward to get the server working. It's just
Yeah.
glorious to show off all your loot.
Yep. All right. So, yeah. that should pretty much do it for most of the stuff of this episode. If you want to drop us a line and maybe play some Starbound and tell us what you think of it as well, that would be cool. You can hit us up at mail@partyloaded.com. Of course, we have regular discussions and sort of snapshots of what we're doing on Twitter at Partyloaded Show, on Facebook at facebook.com/partyloaded, and you can even hop on our Steam group and check us out there. So just search for Partyloaded on Steam. Also, if you've been listening to the show and you're enjoying what you're hearing, a super cool thing you could do, which we would greatly appreciate, is any iTunes users, if you could hop onto iTunes and leave us a 5-star review if you really are enjoying the show. Yeah. Well, I mean, 5 stars if we deserve it. If not,
this episode,
how about
because
just
goddamn Luke.
leave us a review.
Leave us
an honest review.
Look, an honest review, like good reviews
honest and
help
true.
a lot. It actually makes a difference with us getting
yeah.
noticed. So, yeah, anything you
Thanks,
can do
friends.
to support would be great. Yeah. So, what's everyone got on this week leading into in the middle of the month? So, No Man's Sky is 2 days away. I think we're probably going to be jumping on, spending a bit of time in that. Anything
I'm
else on
playing
the
it
list?
tomorrow in your face.
Yeah. So, hang on, Imogen, you're actually going to play it on PS4 just to sample it and then buy it on PC yourself? Is that how that's going to work?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'm going to buy it on PC anyway.
Yeah.
But I just got the opportunity to play it on PS4 tomorrow, so I'm very excited.
But you'll basically be doing some progression that won't be saved for when you start yourself, is what you're saying.
Well, it'll be saved on that person's game, yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Nice. So are we all going to try and play some Overcooked this weekend?
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would
I
love
don't know
that.
how we're going to fit it
Please?
in with the other board games, but sure.
I'm sure we'll find a way. It'll be super cool.
Just
Yeah.
bring your controllers and I'll sort the rest.
Nice. Well, I've got
Let's make it happen.
I've got an invite for one night in Karazhan in 2 days' time, which I'm super excited about. It's going to be very cool. Get my Hearthstone on. Be awesome. Nice.
God, and we're playing D&D this weekend. Wow. So I've got an assignment due next Tuesday.
No,
Good
no,
luck,
no.
future Imogen.
Don't play WoW
luck.
too, because then you'll have no time. You'll get no study
Oh,
done.
no.
All that will just end badly,
Oh,
and you'll
God.
fail at life.
Yeah.
We'll say WoW for next week.
I will fail at life. Wow,
Jesus.
Luke, you've been just the best towards
He's
me.
just
I don't think
been.
we can be friends anymore. I think we're good.
I'm going to call it here before I say anything else. All right. Anyway, it's been a great
Please
night.
do. Has it? Has it, Luke?
I don't know. I
I've had a
think
great
we're
night.
at a net loss.
A net loss.
Luke's definitely at a
Apologies
net
to
loss
all.
of respect.
I'm gonna cut my losses and cut it there. All right. Anyway, until next week. Thanks everybody. Have a great fun time gaming. Enjoy your No Man's Skying, and we'll chat about all of that next episode. So until then, bye.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.